Lots of other startup activity going on in the health space. This is another startup activity. Moriavisar came to Northeast Ohio to work with Lockheed Martin on the F-16 simulator. He's in Northeast Ohio saying, what am I going to do next? Turns out he's going to create something called surgical theater, which is leveraging the broadband Genie network that we're building in Hessler to facilitate a chance for surgeons to actually practice their surgeries before they get into the actual theater from the comfort of their home, using patient-specific information. I think amazing demonstration of huge broadband, huge broadband, 840 megabits per second for his application. We're also working in the learning space on trying to improve STEM education and STEM outcomes. Obviously, this community's future is significantly dependent on us getting a pipeline of talent who can work in our own community, and very much focused in on trying to find ways of leveraging gigabit fiber to the home to create an education channel on this Genie network, which supports peer-to-peer. All the privacy that the schools wants can be afforded in a Genie network, which is to say you can actually create private networks within a single network into the house. You can actually dial in channel 3, which is a private network just for education, and support that, whether it's peer-to-peer, whether it's with publishing, whether it's with Discovery Channel, whether it's with Uncommon TV, or anybody else. Again, lots of work going on with respect to taking content from the community and delivering it directly into the class, and now our goal is to actually deliver it directly into the homes of people, because of course learning doesn't stop in the class. I think most of you will know that we do quite a bit of work with the Cleveland Clinic and the university hospitals for creating science education interactively with, in this case, surgeons in the Cleveland Clinic surgical suite. As they're doing open heart surgery, they're actually talking to students who are doing AP biology and the like. So let's see if I can, we're doing other activities in the area of STEM education. This is a peer-to-peer and peer-to-faculty member program that we have set up for chemistry, one of our faculty members. And there's a series of Genie projects that were launched over the last 30 days or so, working with other researchers from across the country who are using the Hessler Street community as a place to actually advance their work in activities that they're doing in San Francisco, San Diego, Texas, Maryland, Hawaii, all using Hessler Street and the programmable network infrastructure into the community as a place to actually play. For those of you who are interested in it, it's obviously all about the next generation of services. Yes, it's always about connecting people, but now we're really into a position in the geek speak world of really having an Internet of Things being built and actually testing the Internet of Things along the way with all the new innovation that's possible from software, like middleware activities, new kinds of interfaces, new kinds of form factors, and the like. So, the short version is we've been up for basically a full year. There's a number of other communities around us here at University Circle who are excited to play. The whole country is watching us here in Cleveland, which is always great news. I've always said nothing to apologize with in terms of what we do here in Cleveland. We just have to celebrate what we do. I thought I would just conclude with a quick little video piece, Brad, if you don't mind. And that should bring me right in at 11 minutes and 30 seconds. No, I'm taking 20 minutes. Go for it.
As one of the top universities in the nation, Case Western Reserve University has a history of improving lives through research, education, and engagement with the community. In May 2010, Case Western Reserve lit up the nation's first gigabit fiber to the home network in preparation for connecting underserved neighborhoods of Cleveland as part of the university's program. Welcome to Hessler Road, a culturally rich neighborhood near the Case Western Reserve campus in Cleveland. It's one of the coldest winters in Cleveland history, but Pat and Peter Holland are staying warm in their Hessler Street home with the help of this new energy management technology. With the click of a mouse, the Hollands can see how their energy use compares with their next-door neighbors and what they can do to reduce their own consumption. The next step, moving energy management across the grid. Faculty at Case Western Reserve are teaming up with the power company to use smart home data to test solutions to the region's power grid. Safety is high priority on Hessler Street. Working with the Case Connection Zone, their Neighborhood Watch is taking on a whole new meaning. Partnering with Rad Vision, neighbors are able to keep an eye on each other's homes without leaving the safety and comfort of their own homes, using their computers to monitor security cameras on the gigabit network. Over time, this innovative pilot project will be integrated with local police departments. An ongoing problem in urban neighborhoods is access to health care, and the Case Connection Zone is tackling it with technology. This resident can monitor her diabetes and check in with her doctor without worrying about transportation, and she can keep track of all her vitals through electronic home health records she shares with her doctor. Students have their very own health needs. Depression and anxiety are serious issues on college campuses. Working with the Case Connection Zone, students can now consult with college counselors over HD video conferencing. It's private, more intimate, and more accessible. Opportunities for improving access are endless. The Case Connection Zone can offer health and wellness activities to all demographics, including seniors and housebound patients. Leveraging gigabit broadband for the next generation. It's the driving force behind the Case Connection Zone. Collaborating with Surgical Theater, we're demonstrating next-generation surgical simulation for both medical education and remote consultations for patients. The bandwidth for networked surgical theater with real patient data is approaching the lightning speed of 1 gigabit a second. Finally, the Case Connection Zone is focusing on improving education. Faculty and students at Case Western Reserve University can interact in real time using gigabit bandwidth for multiple concurrent HD video streams. This cutting-edge technology is a platform for classes, community meetings, and support groups where each of the participants is in their own home. Connecting America through the promise and power of broadband. Case Western Reserve University and the Case Connection Zone. Simplifying smart energy choices, improving safety inside our homes, increasing access to vital health services and education, leveraging advanced information technology to improve people's lives, and Startup America.
Thanks very much.
We'd like to offer the chance to ask a couple of questions before we move on to the next speaker. Does anybody have a question they'd like to ask?
I have a question. Lev, that was great. Thanks very much. Does the potential that Genie represents also reiterate the last mile challenge that we saw in years past? And beyond that, what's the role, if any, for telecommunications or cable providers with regard to getting fiber optic to the home?
Right, Dan. So let me try to answer the last part of that question. Genie is really taking off across the nation among the scientific research community, but let's remember that what we represent is pre-commercial activity. And so the NSF is investing in us to create products and solutions that other people who are smarter in the marketing and the commercialization will take forward to the marketplace. And there's a huge amount of effort. The president is actually, I think everyone will probably know who's interested in this space, has a significant item in the budget, $3 billion actually for wireless innovation activity. $1 billion of it is in support of research and innovation. That's what Genie is being funded by, and a big part of that is in using wireless connectivity, most of it focused on last mile. But of course, we're also interested in the fiber story. That's been our story. Here we think that if you fast forward 25 years, this is all obvious. The question is what happens in the next 25 years all around the world. Gigabit fiber to the home is the gold standard. How do we close the gap in the United States without saying we can't possibly connect every last home in America at gigabit fiber to the home? We know that. Where do we start? The answer, we think, is in university communities around universities, because a lot of our faculty, students, and staff live in those communities. We have expectations for what can be done. None of it is, all of it is basically something that we experience every day when we're at work. What happens and how can we make that happen at home? And so I shared with you what's not broadly known yet, which is that US Ignite officially launched yesterday. That's really about an effort to create these applications, many of which you've seen a very high-level version of today, In about another 2 weeks, you're going to, perhaps those of you who follow this will also be learning, especially if students are interested in this, a new project which is called GigU, which is an attempt to take 25 university campuses across the country and actually create demand, aggregated demand for fiber to the home in the communities around the universities here, big universities here in the United States. Obviously, Case Western Reserve is in the middle of that activity as well, and we think, we hope that, in fact, we're pretty sure that a lot of the telecommunications companies will be very interested in figuring out what they do first rather than what they have to solve last. The first thing to do is to engage, we think, with university communities to demonstrate that America is serious about being globally competitive by leveraging one of the crown jewels we have in the nation, which is our university communities, and trying to bring ultra high-speed broadband into them to provide not only faster ways of sending email to each other, which is, after all, kind of what the triple play is all about, but these breakthrough, never before seen, some will win, some will lose, kind of, new products and services that'll fully leverage a gigabit. Any other questions or comments before we give it back to Brad? Anything online?
Are there any other areas or communities that, oh, sorry. Oh, okay. Are there any other areas or communities that you guys keep an eye on, as far as competition goes, or just stealing ideas from?
So the great news in higher education is that we steal from each other all the time. I mean, that's called collaboration. And so we're watching each other and working together. There's a terrific group of universities involved in the GigU initiative. Yesterday there were 100 researchers at the NSF talking about US Ignite. And they all most of them come from universities or research institutes across the country, and we're constantly sharing the portfolio of provocative questions. They're all focused largely on the 4 areas that I've looked at today and shared with you: health and wellness, education, environmental and energy management issues, obviously focusing on public safety and national security issues. And yesterday, for the first time, they sort of introduced a 5th area, which is actually in advanced manufacturing, which should be of interest here in Northeast Ohio. So the first time ever, we've got an advanced manufacturing initiative here, and we're always watching what one another are doing. Actually, June 9th and 10th is kind of the next event in the life of US Ignite and GigU, and the community that's hosting all of the about 200 people from around the country is Cleveland, Ohio, Case Western Reserve.